Boy Meets World is a show that has an episode for almost everything. There's even an episode about a teacher hitting on a student. The plot is primarily about a professor hitting on Topanga, when Cory finds out he acts out of character and hits the professor. The name of this teacher is Stuart, and everybody seems to love him because of how cool he comes across. We don't realize what a creep Stuart actually is until he hits on Topanga. Not only does he hit on Topanga, but Stuart actually starts touching Topanga's hair in a flirtatious way. When Topanga tells Stuart that she's uncomfortable and asks him to leave, Stuart doesn't leave and tries to continue dominating the situation. The only reason Stuart finally leaves is because Cory walks in. Cory finds out what happened, and later on Cory ends up hitting Stuart. There's then a hearing with the dean that's going to determine whether Cory gets to stay in school or gets kicked out. For a while, it actually seems like Stuart is going to get away with it. At one point, Topanga even confronts Stuart, and he pretends that Topanga came onto him. The arrogance in Stuart makes you start hating the character. A fun fact is that the guy who plays Stuart is Fred Savage. Fred Savage is the brother of Ben Savage, so the actors who play Cory and Stuart are actually brothers in real life. Boy Meets World is technically a kids and family show. You could say that this episode is too mature for a kid audience, but it's actually a good thing this episode was made. You're learning early on that teachers can be inappropriate even if you trust them. We also see the difference between a good teacher like Mr. Feeney versus someone like Stuart. Mr. Feeney has a friendship with his students, but it's healthy and appropriate. Feeney cares for his students like they're his own kids, but Stuart, on the other hand, gains the trust of his students, so he can then hit on them and be inappropriate. Feeney is a mentor and loved by his students, but Stuart is just a straight-up creep. There's a few dumb people who think that Stuart did nothing wrong. They think his actions weren't inappropriate because they're in college and not in high school. The thing is that no matter what kind of school it is or how old you are, a teacher hitting on their student is inappropriate no matter what. There's a power dynamic between a student and a teacher. The teacher holds all the power on whether you fail the class or not. A teacher can hit on you, and you probably don't even like the teacher, but because you're scared of failing, you will go along with whatever the teacher wants. This is just one example of how a teacher or professor can abuse their power in a very creepy and predatory way. If you've seen this episode, then you know Eric was the only one who knew something was wrong with Stuart. He right away sees that Stuart is way too friendly with his students and picks up a bad vibe. I think why none of the kids took Eric serious is because of their friendship with Feeney. They were used to having a healthy friendship with a teacher, so the kids just assumed that Stuart was cool like Feeney. It wasn't until Stuart hit on Topanga that the kids began seeing Stuart as nothing like Feeney. Overall, this is a good episode and a great way to tackle a tough topic. It sucks that a network will no longer make an episode like this, especially for a kids show. This kind of plot will only get made for something rated 14 and up, but never for someone like a 7-year-old or younger. Why I love Boy Meets World is because they knew their audience was young kids and young adults, but the show also knew that their audience is smart. The show knew that their audience was smart enough no matter how old they are. Comment down below how you feel about this episode. Do you think it's too mature for a kid audience? Or do you think it's good to find out at a young age that you have to be careful with teachers?